In the north of the Gaza Strip, the Israeli operation in Jabalia, the largest satellite town of the Palestinian enclave's capital, has come to an end. The IDF command withdrew most of its forces from the locality, and crowds of refugees returned to the abandoned neighborhoods. Israeli units maintained a presence in the vicinity of Al-Auda Hospital. Palestinian groups carried out a series of sorties in the vicinity of the hospital, but were unable to repel the Israelis. At the same time, IDF troops conducted a localized operation in blockaded Beit Hanun. Israeli bulldozers carried out engineering work on the outskirts of the locality, and several strikes were carried out on the town itself. Several areas of Gaza were also hit, where civilians were killed daily. The situation with regard to the provision of medical care to the injured has also become more difficult amid a shortage of medicines and fuel for hospitals. The American-built floating pier in southwestern Gaza has been suspended from receiving humanitarian aid. This was due to the damage it sustained amid unfavorable weather conditions. In the center of the enclave, IDF units conducted a small raid east of al-Maghazi. At the same time, the Israelis worked their way through Hamas-controlled localities, damaging residential buildings. Meanwhile, the humanitarian situation continued to deteriorate in Deir al-Balah. The situation remains dire at Al-Aqsa Hospital, where the fuel needed for the hospital's operation has almost run out. In the south of the Gaza Strip, the Israeli troops' operation in Rafah has been ongoing for more than 3 weeks. Over the past week, they have been able to advance along the border, occupying the area up to the Tal Zurab Archaeological Park. At the same time, the Israeli command transferred the 828th Bislama Infantry Brigade to the region. This is the 6th Israel Defense Forces unit deployed in the southern Gaza Strip. The Israeli Air Force again carried out massive strikes on militant-controlled areas of the city. The Israeli strikes on a tent camp in the Tel al-Sultan neighborhood, where more than 40 people were killed, caused considerable resonance. Another incident occurred at the Rafah checkpoint near Egypt. An exchange of fire between Israeli and Egyptian soldiers took place at the facility, resulting in the death of an Egyptian border guard. Israeli security forces conducted another series of raids in the West Bank. During the week, more than 110 residents of the autonomy were detained in the region, accused of links with Hamas and participation in anti-government rallies. The largest operation again took place in Jenin, where the Israelis conducted search and defused several explosive devices. Local militants were also active, ambushing and blowing up IDF armored vehicles. The usual exchange of strikes continued along the entire Lebanese-Israeli border. Hezbollah militants have traditionally reported hitting Israeli military targets, but their effectiveness raises questions. In turn, Israeli forces launched strikes on the southern Lebanon, as well as the rear localities. This included the settlement of Bint Jabil, where one person was killed and more than a dozen residents were wounded.